Hello. Very good afternoon to one and all. Hope everyone's doing great. My name is Chinta. I'm the General Manager for Crypto.com Singapore. For those of you who are not so familiar with our company, we are proudly headquartered and licensed here in Singapore. So I'll say that even if I was not so close to the MES pavilion, all right? We serve our 80 million global customers from our home market of Singapore with our ecosystem of web3 services, which include trading, buying, selling cryptocurrencies and also stablecoins, digital assets of all kinds, a marketplace service, as well as payments through our debit Visa card and B2B merchant rails, and a non-custodial wallet. So we are one of the first few companies to build a complete Web3 ecosystem, and we are here to show up for the community. A few quick words about myself. I was not a regulator, but I did spend 16 years with the Singapore government, with the EDB, as well as Digital Industry Singapore. So for what that's worth, that has earned me some minutes here on stage, on the regulation stage, right? Very excited to be here today to talk about how Web3 might address some of the pain points and challenges in philanthropy as well as the nonprofit sector. And I'm very, very glad to have Willie Tan from the Salvation Army, Director for Strategic Partnerships and Development, here with me. And maybe I'll just invite Willie in a second to introduce himself. But I mean, Salvation Army as a kid, fond memories. I used to bother my mom for change so that I can put it into the metal can. I'll ask mom to tong the money into the can, right? So it's certainly a very familiar brand name, and Crypto.com is very proud to share the stage with Salvation Army. Willie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chintai. It's a pleasure, honor to be here, to be invited. So maybe just a brief sharing of what Salvation Army is about. It's an old traditional brand that's across more than 130 countries. And when we're here in Singapore, this year we just celebrated 88 years of service to the country here. And we're very proud of it, to be part of it, the growing of Singapore over the decades. So having said so much about that, what is interesting is on the macro level, on the strategic partnership that we are looking at and development. As a traditional company, we are moving towards the old school of thoughts to the new school of thoughts of digitalization and transformation. That's something that is really exciting. It's something that we have to look at it holistically, moving forward from the corporate governance to the compliance side, which is very important and very critical for us to continue to build us as a trusted charity across the world. So this is something really exciting on the new transformation and innovation that we are looking at from a macro perspective. And this is something that really great to be here to actually learn from the innovators, as well as all the new innovations that we have in the marketplace.
Wonderful. So Willie is a bit shy to talk about his background, but I would love to hear a little bit about like what got you interested, Willie, in Web3. I understand you have a bit of a tech background yourself.
Yes, I started off in both the private and public sector. Private sector was in Hewlett-Packard, and the tech background really got me interested on how we have moved from Web 1.0 to 2.0, and now moving on to 3.0. So I think, interestingly, it's really exciting how we actually accelerate in the marketplace from 1.0 to 2.0, and now moving on to 3.0. It's not even accelerating, but it's going exponentially in the speed that we have not seen before. And how do business, and how do corporates, and how do individual actually move up to speed to this? And this is something that, how do we actually converge, and how do we adjust, adapt, and adopt? This is something which I think is pretty critical for any organization or individual as well. So this is how I'm really interested in how the whole thing has spanned and crossed. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a bit of a call to action here, from Willie at least. Do you see that there's a growing appetite among your donors, the community, in accepting or using crypto in giving?
I think let's look at it not too far away, not too distant away, how internet banking or online purchase behavior has changed over the years. From the good old days where internet banking was not very well accepted due to fear of security, till today, as we can see that almost everybody is actually doing online banking, online purchase, which I've never seen before. So it's about really adjusting, adapting, adopting. And if you look at, in terms of moving on to digital assets, how would that be done? How would that be accepted moving forward? In today's context, the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z are pretty much in this area of arena. And moving forward, it's going to be normalized as we move, just like any other behavioral styles that we have from the past of internet banking to today, where it become normalized, where it's a way of life. So I think I do see that as a platform moving forward, that will change the game and will be normalized moving forward.
I think that's a really great point. And it's one of the earlier panels they mentioned, AI and technology. Once it gets adopted, it goes into the background. So similarly, in the future, we're seeing this in the data. Adoption of cryptocurrency or digital assets is only growing. So earlier this year, we did a study. We counted 560 million users, people who are engaged with digital assets and cryptocurrencies. Just 1 month ago, that number has gone from 500 million to 560 million. So interest in the asset category continues to grow. And I think this could be potentially a big market of donors for organizations such as the Salvation Army. So on that note, Willie, if I may, I would love to hear from your perspective, now that you have the supply side, so to speak, right, and a certain level of willingness to engage with the asset category to make payments in crypto, what are some of the pain points or challenges that you think maybe web3 technology is fit for purpose within the philanthropic and nonprofit sector?
I think by and large, if you look at it, I think one of the pain points is about people understanding. For early adopters, they are higher risk takers per se. And for generally the public, be it businesses or individual, people are more risk averse when it comes to new stuff and new things. But moving forward, I think one of the pain points would be going into the unknown. Change is constant. I think that's something that we do face that every day. And moving forward on that, I believe that in terms of adaptation, in terms of what we can do, in terms of trying to think.
Yeah, so like, we will need to see how we can move people along. I'd love to delve into that topic a little bit more with you, Willie. But one of the kind of like advantages or built-in features of the blockchain is quite simply its immutability, the fact that it's an immutable record, right?
Correct.
So things like maybe the provenance of funds, AML, KYC, would you like to maybe talk a little bit about those topics?
Those are one of the key pain points here will be AML, KYC, and that's something, source of funds, etc. This is something that we do face challenges in. And I think being risk averse and on corporate governance and compliance, that's something that we're very strict on. And that's something that we really need to look into, and really how to actually convince people that all these mechanisms are in place for safety, security, and trust is being built based on that as well.
So the promise of web3 technology, in particular blockchain, is that you can move towards a trustless type of a situation, right? Provenance, and right now, if you read the news in Singapore, there are certain concerns and issues about where money is coming from, where is it going. So blockchain actually is a fit-for-purpose technology that will help put everybody literally on the same page, or I should say technically the same ledger, in terms of where the assets lie, where are they going, which wallet addresses are they going from. The key point here is that the entry point needs to be KYC. That means we need to know your customer, know your business. And I'm very proud to say, and again, not because I'm looking straight at the MES logo here, I'm proud to say that Crypto.com, we KYC 100% of our customers, because this is just something that the founders started the company. They wanted to build a fully compliant business. And believe you me, it does slow us down a little bit because there's a cost associated with compliance, but we believe in doing the right thing. And which is why I thought it's quite interesting to kind of like discuss this with Willie, because we kind of face the same challenge in this respect.
I think a lot of time, what we need to do is really to equip and educate both the businesses and the individuals, because it's lack of information and lack of comfort level that people are not willing to adopt. So I think it takes a lot of education on the front while you have the hardware and the software, I think educating and getting the message across and understanding what they are having will make that much seamless and smoother as we move forward.
Yeah, education is going to be pretty key, and I mean, we're sort of here on stage today to kind of share a little bit of our views as well. But here, as a Singapore headquartered company, I'm going to say that many times, Singapore headquartered company, we are very engaged with the community here. The Singapore FinTech Association, Access are key partners of ours, and we work with them to run seminars, workshops, to kind of like educate, bring down the heat level, the risk level, or the perception of web3 technologies and crypto. My company is crypto.com. We don't think it's a dirty word, but we respect where the authorities stand on the issue here and elsewhere. We are prepared to be very patient, but education is going to be key. We believe in partnerships. We believe in constructive dialogue. We don't believe in advocacy and lobbying loudly, right? So I couldn't agree with you more. Willie, is going to be about education and making sure that whatever regulation is fit for purpose and prioritizes both innovation as well as consumer protection. So I'm quite interested also because we talked a little bit about provenance, but as an international organization handling a lot of cross-border type of payments and donations, what is your viewpoint on kind of like the utility of blockchain technologies in enabling some of these payments across borders?
I think as an international organization, cross-border payment and usage is definitely a need, not a want. And I think with blockchain, that will really help to let us really legitimize where you will know where the source of fund is. The ledger will actually keep track and ID the whoever are the one that actually be it donation or transfer. So I think with that technology is more efficient in terms of transferring and doing cross-border transactions per se.
So the cross-border in the blockchain is kind of an interesting concept, right? Because the ledger is live on the blockchain. The blockchain is the ledger. It does not recognize international boundaries. So people talk about atomic settlement. The simple case is, and in traditional finance, a lot of intermediaries, a lot of folks in this event over the week, you'll meet them. They play the intermediary role, very critical roles. And I'm not here to downplay the importance of these roles and how that will have to interact with the new world of Web3. Like, a lot of things need to be sorted out. But at the same time, in the Web3 world, payment is settlement. There's no two-step, right? So this not only reduces costs for organizations like Salvation Army or even donors, some among you who also give generously to different causes, it also saves time, which is probably more important. So settlement, atomic settlement means it happens close to instantly. You may have heard stories about how sometimes gas fee very high, sometimes it takes many days, a long time. It's not true. A long time is like 15 minutes, okay? High fees is like 8 to 12 bucks, 20 bucks maybe. And depending on the sum involved, this could be still highly effective and efficient. So I just want to kind of like put things in context. There's a lot of hype out there. There's also a lot of fear out there. But really, cross-border payments, very fit for purpose. We think it's a really cool use case. So I wanted to maybe also kind of pick your brains, Willie, in terms of what do you see are some of the, maybe looking forward, right? What would be some of the new use cases, emerging use cases that might be interesting to you, like maybe purpose-bound money, NFTs? Do you have any thoughts about that?
I think adopting future use, I think one of the things would be NFT is definitely something that we are exploring. Metaverse will be something that we are exploring as well, and how to use AI, AR, but in perspective. How do we actually innovate in that to drive programs or campaigns throughout the region? And that will be something that we'll be seeing how to actually translate that to reality.
So this metaverse point is quite interesting. I'm not as familiar, so I would love to hear what are some of your thoughts on the meta. How are organizations such as yours engaging with the metaverse? How do you find that useful?
I think metaverse has been used in education at this point of time and games and stuff like that. But how do we actually move above and beyond with AR coming in, and how do you keep it interactive? And that's where we are seeing how to personalize, keep it interactive to engage corporates as well as individual, the mass market, and see how do we actually have a closer engagement of relationship and personalized platform with them. And that's something that we would like to actually see how we can move above and beyond what we do have as distinctly with the current AI coming in, etc.
Okay, that's a great point, because if I can just paraphrase a little bit of what Willie said, it adds on to what is existing, right? It is not to replace or disrupt. Again, you hear a lot of language like that at events, maybe not so much at events like this, but events elsewhere, right? Like Token, where they talk about disruption, and there's a case to be made for that. But I thought what is very interesting to note about Willie's sharing is that it is about augmenting or supplementing or enhancing what's already existing. And one of the key things that web3 allows creators, organizations, and individual consumers to do is to build, sorry, there's a flying insect here, is to build a direct relationship with one another, right? So a charity or organization like Salvation Army can speak directly to their donor across borders, right? And if you expand the use case to, you build a metaverse on the blockchain and you have a lot of assets that are tied to NFTs, for example, there are very interesting things we can do and explore. I know NFTs is a bit of a, used to be a flavor of the month some months ago. It's got a bit of a mixed reputation. But I do feel like the media has done NFTs really dirty. It's not just about bored apes or digital art. There are many use cases around media ownership and sharing. And in particular, how might you, by using very almost inane things like an NFT badge, help people feel a certain sense of pride. Like if you donate $50 to a cause, a cross-border to fund shoes for children in the developing world, that you get an NFT badge. It may sound trivial, but we find that on our app, among our users, it is a great way to activate individuals to be more engaged with the technology, more engaged with the asset category.
That's definitely very helpful to have that platform, and that's something that we're trying to see how we can build and actually to sandbox that to a trial within our organization to see how we can actually stack and build further by collaborating and actually partner with industry experts like yourself and many others who are the subject matter experts. So, yeah.
So, on speaking with Willie on a couple of occasions before this, he's been very, very busy. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Willie, which is he's been meeting a lot of people at events like this, forming partnerships. I would love to hear your take on you can speak specifically to the Salvation Army or more generally for non-profit organizations, because there are other people here in the audience who are a little bit more like me, who are interested to see or learn how we might engage with you, right? What are some of the partnerships that are meaningful to you, that you are seeking to build? And how might you build that with some Web3 organizations?
Maybe I'll just go by and large on the non-profit charity sectors. Per se I think it's on triple win, public-private partnership, where we actually have all the collaborators coming together to really work together on a common platform. But end of the day, we look at the total outcome is to actually benefit the beneficiaries. So if everybody were to come collectively together, come as one voice, one people, end of the day, what we want to achieve is to actually benefit the beneficiaries. I think that's actually the key objective and the basis of it. Yep.
And how does that tie into some of your stated aims of the Salvation Army earlier, where you shared about digitalization is going to be one of the major drivers for you? Like how does that all come together or fit together?
I think in today's world, we have to be future ready, future proof, and effectively, the wave of Web3 is definitely coming. Nothing will stop it. It's just as and when it's going to normalize. But very key thing is we have to equip ourselves to be ready. And when that comes, we are going to ride the wave up there and then. And we're not going to miss the boat. Because by then, it'll be too late for you to equip and try to ride the wave. You'll be too late, and well, the ship has gone sailing.
Again, I can sense there's a bit of a sense of urgency, right? And I do feel that I would certainly agree. In the Web3 world, in Crypto.com, we are always in a hurry. We want to deliver kind of like great experience for our users. But we can only do so through kind of like meaningful partnerships. So just like Salvation Army, we are looking to build meaningful partnerships. We recently established our Global Innovation Center here in Singapore. And we just ran our first hackathon. In fact, my colleague in the front row, Sheng Le, was the one who was running the show. We have 12 teams from across APAC, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, come to the Singapore Management University to pitch their best ideas. And it was really, really invigorating to just hear what they have to say. But what's more interesting, guys, is the fact that the champions, so this is another way I think perhaps Web3 companies can support the likes of Salvation Army, which is when we convene folks together around problem statements that you face, interesting, cool ideas come out. So the champions for the hackathon just this Tuesday, they came up with the idea of how might we use AI to diminish or eliminate scams in the digital asset space, which is, I thought, very relevant to the earlier panels today on this stage. But that's just one example of how that can be useful. The runners-up came up with the idea to use blockchain to record carbon resources and also ensure and authenticate the provenance that these carbon credits are real, because that's a real problem right now. And the only way you can address it is to go to the source, right? So again, that's not quite the kind of work that the Salvation Army is involved in, but certainly something that's very meaningful from a non-profit perspective. So even beyond the today of receiving and accepting payment, settlement, there are new use cases that can be developed.
Use cases.
Did you want to say something?
Currently, I think currently what we have is use cases. I think one of the current partnership that we have that I can think of is that we have gone into collaboration with the Singapore Digital Chamber of Commerce to actually work together to see how we can come together to work with the various partners of their members, moving towards the Web3 space, to collaborate, to educate both the corporates as well as the mass folks out there in terms of what we can do as a collaborative partner to actually really engage the marketplace. Yep.
I think the way forward would be through meaningful partnerships that can deliver an impact. Because I honestly think that organizations like yours are in the business of making impact to the lives of many people around the world. It's something that I have tremendous respect for. I would like to maybe sum up kind of the discussion points to today and wrap up the discussion. We started off by talking about some of the pain points that could be addressed in a non-profit world with Web3 technologies. Again, I think the key takeaway here is don't believe all the hype, but there are some use cases today that can be addressed and some use cases tomorrow that can be architected around. Then we talked a little bit about how we might promote adoption. Education will be very key, and collaboration as well. And I did want to kind of like ask Willie to kind of give the final word here in terms of like what is the rally that you want to leave our audience here today with for today's panel?
I think the keyword, the takeoff keyword, I think will be future ready, future proof, be ready.
Great. And with that, I think we can all agree that the Salvation Army has come a long way from accepting payments with change to maybe accepting payments in digital and cryptocurrency and beyond. So thank you very much, really. And thank you all for coming here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.